when you're smart, because you get a lot of positive attention for it, it's really easy to overvalue it, to confuse intelligence with virtue, and to confuse the fact that you're intelligent, let's say, with the idea that you're valuable and good. And that's dangerous because it means that people who aren't as intelligent aren't as valuable and good, and that's not a very good conclusion to draw. But it also draws you in a prideful way. And like I said, I like to win arguments, and I always thought, well, if I won the argument, I was smarter and better. And I realized around your age that not only was that not true, like seriously not true, because just because someone can't formulate an argument doesn't mean they don't have a point. This is something you definitely learn when you're married. You know, because your partner might be upset with you and unable to articulate it, and you might be able to mount a pretty damn good defense, but they still might be right, and you should listen. So, because maybe they'll stop you from falling into a pit. But I also started to understand, too, that in that intellectual pride, well, the figure of Lucifer and Satan, Lucifer in particular, so he's a variant of the idea of what's satanic and evil. Lucifer is the morning star and the spirit of enlightenment. And Milton characterized Lucifer as God's highest angel gone most spectacularly wrong. And Lucifer is like Scar in The Lion King. You know, Scar's smarter than Mustafa, but he's alienated and isolated and bitter. And part of that's intellectual pride, a huge part of it. And there's a tremendous intellectual pride in the totalitarian impulse. And so I started to understand that to the degree that I was characterized by intellectual pride and capitalizing on, you know, a talent that was given to me in some sense by God, let's say, you know, by the transcendent, because I'm not responsible for my own intelligence, whatever it might be, right? That's just who I am. I didn't do that. I had no more to do with that in some sense than how tall I am. It's just how it is. And then I started to understand that being prideful in that manner was participating in the same process that led to totalitarian atrocity. And then that just scared the hell out of me, I hope. You know, I hope.
Yeah,
I hope it scared me bad. Yeah. Well, I hope. Well, you do hope. Well, you know, my house for years was covered with Soviet paintings, these realist paintings. And a lot of them featured Lenin and Marx and Trotsky, a lot of the real intellectual acolytes of the communist movement. And they were huge paintings. Some of them were 9 by 12. And literally my house was covered with them. And, you know, much to the chagrin of my wife to some degree, although she played along. But part of that was to remember, you know, to remember how attractive these totalizing ideologies can be. How much of a temptation they are to pride, especially allied with something like compassion, and how unbelievably brutal and terrible that is. And so I try to have that in the back of my mind all the time. I want to step forward carefully. I don't want to fall prey to that intellectual or moral pride. And like I said, I'm old enough, so I think I can handle it. And then I would also say, you know, I have a lot of people around me who keep me in check. I have good friends, many of whom have had incredibly successful careers, extremely intelligent people and capable and blunt. And if I deviate, some of them on the left and some of them on the right, and if I deviate, they phone me and say, you know, I don't think you handled that very well. You should get your act together, and then we fight about it. I did a video with Greg Hurwitz and Jonathan Pajot about the tweets that got me banned, you know, where we tried to delve into the utility and morality of my behavior. Twitter makes you impulsive, and, you know, I can be impulsive on Twitter. And so, and I made some nasty comments on Twitter. And I spent a lot of time talking to my friends and my family about, you know, was that straight and right, or was it prideful and impulsive? And, well, so I have lots of people around me who help. And then I'm hoping I'm terrified enough of where intellectual pride goes to, you know, to keep my ego in check.